Episode whatever, take 3.
I just text Rick. I said, here we go. Say a prayer.
Oh my gosh, dude.
No, but just for good measure, the sound is recording. Yes. Yes, the sound is recording.
So
all the cards are in the cameras. I formatted them all. They all have minutes on them. I don't know why that one's yellow, but say a prayer. Say a prayer.
That one's yellow. That one's red. That one's green. Who knows what's happening?
No, there really is one. I took Delilah's sippy cup and I took the lid off of it, and look, you didn't even close the door. We still can't get it right.
Okay, so really quickly, we have been through a lot these past couple days. We usually do the episodes and we record them on Tuesday. That way Rick has time to deliver quality episodes to you guys by Friday.
I had a whole cute getup, a cute little top, my little lacy bra peeking out, looking good.
And we got in a fight on the podcast and
surprise.
Yeah, no, but it was not your normal podcast fight. It was we were both tired and grumpy and mean to each other and
we missed each other.
We missed each other and we decided, okay, let's just scrap that one because it and I know some of you are like, no, Steve, but we really want to see it. No,
we're gonna bury and burn the footage.
I was gonna say it was something with an F. Yeah, it's on your tooth right there.
Of course I do, because that's the kind of episode it is.
Did you get it? No,
because I just ate black bean corn salsa.
Make sure you zoom in, Rick, on Renae picking her teeth. There you go.
I got it.
So then we're like, okay, you know what? Let's start over. Let's regroup. Let's hug. Let's kiss. Let's make up. We made up.
We actually Steve walked out of the episode of the podcast. He was so unhappy about it, and we literally had a talk, and we worked through our argument.
So we're like, okay, well let's get in there.
We have to re-record an episode.
Do it again. But then Rick says, well, I can't be there to produce. I'm busy with other stuff. So
I reserved time for you. You guys screwed it up. Move on.
We're like, okay, we'll do it on our own. So we did it on our own.
Because we didn't have an episode last week. We didn't want to go another week without an episode.
No, we're not going to go another week without an episode. And that's why we're here, right? Because we about an hour and a half ago, we're like, all right, boom, 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 let's do it. And it was a really good episode. I was really happy with the discussion, the things we were talking about. And then all of a sudden, there was no card.
Oh, that's right.
There was no card in the sound.
No, yes, that's correct. There was no card in the sound. So Steve thought he hit the record button, but it didn't matter because it was not recording. And then one of our cameras, we'd recorded some other stuff on it, and
we
so there was no space.
It was.
So who knows when it stopped recording in the middle of the episode?
So it is a shit show,
but third time is a charm, baby.
Sometimes
except for wives.
Look, I definitely believe in God, and I think God is like, oh, y'all want to fight? All right.
How important is this argument to you, really?
Yeah, y'all behave yourselves and do it again. Oh, guess what? Do it again.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We're not going to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done.
Anymore, but you were asking me, you're like, why are you laughing? Because you get to a certain place, and I honestly believe that the sooner you can get to this place, the happier you'll be. Nothing really bothers me anymore. I've learned to. They
say that's something that comes with age.
The people that say don't sweat the small stuff. Mm-hmm. It's such a hacky thing to say, right? And people say it all the time, but it's true. It's like I don't have a time machine, right? I can't go back in time and hit record properly and put in the card. I can't, right?
Yeah.
I can't go back in time and relive the argument we had. All I can do is move forward. So that's why I was laughing, because I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Yeah. Right? We have made a commitment to several people and the family out there that we would do these podcasts. I enjoy the podcast.
We appreciate that you guys keep watching.
No, we love it. And it has become a lot of fun for Renae and I. But
that's also why because we appreciate everyone watching every week, we didn't want to put out an episode that we felt like was just watching two people bicker.
Well, it wasn't even bickering. It was inside petty bullshit.
Yeah.
It really was. And that's why we dumped the episode. But again, I'm not worried about it, and it's one of those things. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going crazy because my weed eater is getting cold.
Because we got more stuff to do we hadn't planned on this week's podcast episode, taking us 3 hours. I already had in my head,
I'm going to weed eat the whole property.
Yeah.
Right? I already had my weed eater's out. I filled it up.
You're anxious.
And you know what's crazy is as much as I am in the yard, right? Mm-hmm. So I figured out a way to put the string on the weed eater, right? And putting string in a weed eater is hard, right?
I wouldn't know.
And the way that I do it is I thread it myself, and it takes forever, right?
Okay.
And then I put it back on so that when I pump it, more string comes out, right?
Yeah.
And the way I do it takes forever. And then Jeff comes over and he's like, "No, dude.
You learned a new technique?"
Yeah, I learned a new trick. He goes, "Do it like this."
And I thought you guys were breaking something. No. I drove in and I pulled into the driveway. And
Jeff was showing me a move, dude. And I never thought at this age I could be taught new landscaping moves.
That someone had more manly knowledge than you had?
Well, it's not fair because Jeff's dad owned a nursery.
Oh, so that's why you always go to him with sprinkler questions.
Yes. Okay. Jeff knows what's up, right? So he showed me a new trick and he was like, "Who's your daddy, bitch?" Because he was so happy to teach me something, right? Because I'm always at his house like, dude.
Yes. Oh my God. You guys, the mosquitoes right now in lots of Texas, in many parts of Texas are so bad from all the rain we've been getting. And so I told Steve, I said, "How would you call yourself a man and you don't own a mosquito fogger?" And like within 24 hours, you're out there. I didn't know you were going to go and buy like a whole mosquito smoke blowing machine.
It worked, man. It
makes a difference.
Oh yeah, it spooked them off, and that was freaking awesome.
Okay, but now you have to do it every 14 days.
Yes,
they're on a 14-day cycle.
When it gets bad again, I'll do it. But it was like Jeff was like, "Who's your daddy, bitch?" And I'm like, "You're my daddy." Like. Because it was such a...
But you can borrow my mosquito blower anytime.
Yeah, well, I'm always like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing that? Use that tool. I got the tool for you, right?" But it was cool that he came over and showed me
a new technique.
That move. So now I'm all excited to get out there and weed eat it up. And then we wasted an entire hour of which, by the way, that the second episode that did not get recorded, I thought was great. I thought it was awesome. And
I was still kind of about it.
Well, because you're losing.
No, because I was trying to let you talk, and I realized that, and this is probably normal amongst couples, but your perspective on things is often very different than my perspective on things, and we know this.
Yes, I'm absolutely aware of that. But when you give me your perspective, I respect your perspective. And I hear your perspective and I adjust accordingly because I understand that your perspective is very real to you. Yeah. And that's why we have arguments, because just because I have a different perspective, it is not real to you and it is not right, and you are right and I am wrong. And that's why we fight.
Pretty much. No.
Yes, but we don't want to get into any more fighting. We're here to keep marriages together.
Yes.
We're here to keep marriages together. I don't want divorce lawyers using our podcast to strum up business. Precedence? No, to strum up business. Like, I know you guys are very happy, but y'all should get into this podcast of this guy and this girl. First of all, he has no business with her, and she knows that.
I love you.
But we missed.
We missed sitting around the table last week so much that we thought we'd do it 3 times this week.
No, I'm laughing because you're like, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and I'm like, "Really, dude? Really?" Somebody's been reading the comments.
No, I actually have wine in my cup.
Do you really have wine in your cup right now?
I really have wine in my cup.
Really?
Yeah, because this is the 3rd time we've done this podcast.
It reminds me of a Randy Rogers song.
What's that?
His new album is "Wine in My coffee cup."
Wine in her coffee cup.
Yeah. Anyway, to talk about the past couple weeks.
Yes.
So just a quick update on Delilah. Delilah has been the squishiest of the squishies.
She's getting to be a little chunky monkey.
Oh my gosh, dude, she's so squishy.
She is squishy.
I'm loving it. She's sitting on my lap. She's hanging out. I walk in the room and she sees me and smiles, and everything is.
If only I could get her to sleep throughout the night without that dang pacifier.
Well, hopefully, very soon, probably in the next month, she'll be strong enough to to do it herself. So
I don't know. Or also, like, I think maybe we just need like no guests for a couple of weeks or a week. And that way I can just let her cry it out. I don't know. Garrett was not a pacifier baby. So this is like all new territory for me.
And then, and I'm glad you brought it up. So I have started taking personal lessons with the guy that owns the mixed martial arts gym. Mm-hmm. We call him Chief.
Yes.
And we've actually started really, hanging out together, and he does Tuesday, Wednesdays, and we train together. Chief Pool. And, I share with him, different ways.
He basically comes and kicks Steve's butt, really, is what happens.
That's what happens. Yes.
He puts you in all these maneuvers and moves that you can't get out of till you say, okay, I've had enough.
Yes.
Tap out.
Thanks for telling everybody that I get beat up every day. Well, I mean, he's like a freaking 3rd-degree black belt, or he's been training.
And he's not a big guy. Like, he's smaller in stature than you are. Not to rub it in or anything, but
he's not smaller than me. He's lighter than me. Yeah, he's not smaller than me, but maybe. Anyway, we are starting to hang out a little more, and we're helping each other out. I'm at the studio with Garrett, right, at the dojo.
Yes.
Garrett's taking his class, and Anthony's not there anymore, right? Mm-hmm. And I talked to Chief Pool about it. I'm like, dude, so what happened to Anthony? The kid that I sent to California.
Oh, we talked about it on the podcast, right?
And people are like, oh, what's the update?
What happened to Anthony?
Well, Anthony came home apparently and said, look, I need to take my training more seriously. Uh-huh. And he decided to quit and train with other pro kickboxers.
Oh, really?
So, Chief was like, hey, man, I told him he could train here. Now, that's one of the reasons I like where Garrett works out. It's called Extreme here in New Braunfels. One of the reasons I like it is because they're big on discipline.
Yeah.
They're big. They're really big about the kids. And they don't want to train UFC fighters.
Yeah.
Right. They're trying to make better men, better women. Right. One of the things that they do in the evenings is they have an evening class, boxing class for guys with Parkinson's and females with Parkinson's, because it has been proven
that it helps keeping active. And
so he does a free class. So he's all about community. He's all about, raising good men. Yeah. Can you go compete? Yes. They give you that option. Right. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I like that. There's no way I want my son to go use his face as a punching bag.
Yeah.
Right. I don't have him in mixed martial arts so that he can become
do comedy
a fighter.
Instead. Use your soul as a punching bag.
Your soul. That was kind of funny. You tried really hard. More wine. But that's one of the reasons I like it there. Right. Uh-huh. But Anthony ends up walking in the door.
While you were there?
While I was there, and I'm like, hey, dude.
Did you get to talk to him?
Yeah, and I gave him a hug, and I go, what's going on, man? He's like, dude, I'm just, I really want to take it serious, and I really want to make it my life. So now he's training with a couple other professional kickboxers in San Antonio, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, what comes out of it. He was obviously very grateful for the opportunity I gave him. Yeah. I do hope that I didn't give him a false sense of you should do this.
Yeah.
But he's doing it. He's decided that he's going to go and give it a real shot. So that's exciting.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you got to catch up with him, because we hadn't heard from him, and my thought was that like you sent him off on this adventure and it like crushed his dreams or something. So it's good to know that.
Look, I don't know what happened over there. Okay, yeah. I have not had a chance to talk to my friend Victor Ortiz specifically about it, so I have no idea what happened over there. All I know is that Anthony said he had a good time. He trained every day. He enjoyed being there. He comes back, quits his job, and now is training professionally. That's what I know.
Yeah.
Okay, and at the end of the day, like I said, my goal is not to gain anything from him or sponsor him as a fighter or anything like that. Yeah. Hey, here's an opportunity. I gave it to you. Do what you will with it. But I'm also here, Anthony, if he needs anything.
Yeah.
If he needs help, right, to pursue his dream. So that was cool. Then another thing that we did yesterday which I thought was crazy for him to do. He has started a self-defense class specifically for women.
Oh, I didn't realize that. It's a female class.
It's a female class. You come in, he trains you in self-defense. Okay, and a lot of places do that.
Yeah.
He also trains you in self-defense, and he also teaches you how to use pepper spray as a weapon. Right? So you walk out there, the pepper spray is this big.
Okay.
Right? And it's like that big around.
Yeah.
You carry it with you. If you feel, it's on your keychain, and if you're feeling endangered, you hold on to it, right?
Yeah.
And the crazy part about this thing, it shoots like 8 feet, right? So Chief wanted to do a video that could possibly show somebody, hey, you've thought about pepper spray. This is what it does.
How it works.
Right. So here you have Chief, who's a young man who has been training in the art of mixed martial arts for over 20 years. I don't want to lie about his credits, but he's 3-time or 4-time black belt or whatever that is.
Yeah.
He's way up there, right? Yeah. He trained with a guy named Machado, who's a famous
I was going to say, I don't know a lot of mixed martial arts, but I recognize the name. Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is this is a bad dude, man. This is a tough guy, and he has competed. He was a D1.
Yeah. Has some serious mental willpower too.
Yeah. He's that's what he does.
Mentally strong.
So we set up cameras. He has one of his students spray him in the face with pepper spray. And of course, me and Timmy and Garrett, my son Garrett's there, right? But, he wanted to show, because a lot of people go, well, if this guy has grabbed me, now what?
Right.
Right? This guy's on top of me, now what?
Right.
Right? This guy has tackled me or hit me or whatever, now what? Right? So in the video, Chief grabs her, throws her on the ground, and she pops him. She freaking...
So, how close?
2 feet. So much so that it shot up his nose.
Oh.
So I have it all on video, right? And Chief is like, I'm trying to, because I'm directing this video and I'm producing, and I'm like, how does it feel? He can't even talk. When I tell you, it stopped him cold. He literally was in the fetal position on his hands and knees, just he couldn't even touch his face anymore. He goes, oh my God, every time I touch his face was...
Why could he not touch his face? Because then
you move it around.
Oh, okay.
You move the stuff around. So the girl was able to get away.
Yeah.
Audie is her name. She was able to get away, but she was coughing, right? And I'm literally asking questions like, hey, was it worth it? Right? Were you able to get away? Or how bad are you hurting? And she's like, I'm not like that.
Yeah.
She's like, because we were using the idea that, H-E-B, the grocery store. She goes, I would already be in H-E-B calling 911. Well, and Chief was not going anywhere.
Still on the ground?
Couldn't even open his eyes. He would try to open his eyes and immediately close them back because it burnt that bad.
Could he speak?
He could speak a little. He said he did it before and he couldn't speak because it was they had shot him from 6 feet.
So the mist just went everywhere.
Right? It just kind of went everywhere. He couldn't breathe, couldn't talk. This time, she pops him in the nose and the eyes, and he can talk a little, but he is done. He is done. And I thought to myself,
I want to see the video now.
Yeah. So I thought to myself, I need to get Renae one, right?
Yeah.
I should have one in my vehicle. I always, and you know this, I always have a gun in all my cars.
Yeah. Because
I refuse to be a victim. However, as a grown man, knowing what I know in life, I don't ever want to have to kill somebody. Ever. Right? But don't get me wrong. If it's me or my family, I'm going to do what I have to do. Yeah. However, to me, the mace is it's not mace.
I was going to say, for
spray.
me,
It's pepper spray. For me, this is step one. Right?
Well, and it sounds like that's enough to...
Oh my God. That was what was surprising to me is that it stopped this man completely.
Yeah.
Right? So she was able to shoot him close and get away, but this thing shoots like 6 or 7 feet.
Yeah.
So there is if you're being threatened, if somebody's being aggressive with you, right?
Yeah.
To where you can hold it out and go, look, stay away from me.
Right.
Right? And if they persist, to be able to pepper spray somebody and know that you didn't kill them, but also know that they're not going anywhere for 20 minutes.
So chances are you can call authorities.
You can call authorities and you can go, hey man, I had a problem in the grocery store parking lot. This guy grabbed me, pursued me. I warned him. I shot him with pepper spray and there he is. Right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, hey man, what a great weapon to have to defend yourself, to protect yourself and not kill somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Because you never want to lethally take somebody's life.
Yeah.
It'll ruin your life. I don't care why you did it. I don't care what happened, right? Whether you're defending your family and it is just, it's still going to ruin your life.
For sure. That's a heavy topic. I didn't know we were not going to talk about our argument and get into such a heavy topic.
That's not fair. She told me, let's not talk about the argument. So we did, and now you just brought us back.
Because we have 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about since we didn't podcast.
No, but I thought it was interesting because I want to get you to take a self-defense class.
Yeah.
Okay, number 1. Number 2, if you're not willing to take the self-defense
sometimes
class.
Because you feel they're so hokey. Like, I feel like I took one in college, and it just seems like not realistic applications. And
that's why Chief wanted to film this girl being thrown to the ground and being able to defend herself.
And I'm all about the pepper spray.
With the pepper spray.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
You know, I had bought you the cat.
Yeah, but even that feels. I mean, when I was in New York, again, I would walk around with it, or LA. I
bought Renae a cat where she can put her fingers through the eyes, and the ears are actually spears, and it looks like a cat. She can hold it. The metal spears come out.
I had it on my keychain.
Had it on your keychain.
Yeah.
But even that, like, that means that you're
in a physical altercation with someone. Yeah.
And this avoids that.
Yeah.
Right. This is something that you can go, I'm done with you, man. Right.
Well, what I loved about it is I didn't realize when you hear mace or pepper spray.
Pepper spray, not mace. I learned my lesson. Yeah.
Pepper spray. You assume that they have to be within like a certain distance, but this particular one,
6 feet
that Chief was using, they can be far away. So you don't even have to wait till they're like physically attacking you.
Yeah, you can.
If you feel threatened from a distance,
you can from a distance go, listen, man, or woman, or whoever,
right?
Stay away from me. I'm warning you. And they, if they proceed, you can freaking pop them and get out of there, right? So I would recommend the self-defense class for you. You know, and then that was another thing. Talking to Audie is her name, and she's 22 years old. She goes to Texas State. She's a college kid, and she goes, hey, my dad worries about me, right? And now that I've been taking self-defense classes and mixed martial arts, so she started with the self-defense and loved it so much that she now does mixed martial arts, right? She goes, my dad feels so much better that I am out there knowing what I know now. Yeah. And I can understand that. Sure. Right? That's a good feeling of, hey, she's not...
She's prepared. It's a feeling of being prepared.
She's thought about it. And I talked to her about it. And I said, hey, before you because this is the second time she sprayed Chief. I said, before you did that, I go, now that you've seen it, now that you've done it, do you feel more confident using it? And she goes, yeah. She goes, because I don't know what's going to happen. Right? I don't know if I spray somebody and I just pissed them off.
Right. Or how much time you have.
Right. Are they really going to hurt me now?
Right.
Right. So she goes, man, so that's another reason that Chief wanted to do the video, so that if you're not her actually spraying it, or you have questions, is it hokey? Is it actually going to really stop somebody from...
How much time does this buy me?
How much time do I have? Right. So now you have this video that you can go and look at and go, oh man, like, I mean, when I tell you, not only did she stop him completely, that he just stayed on his knees and he was miserable. Yeah. Right. I mean, he couldn't open his eyes. Right. She could have gone up there, kicked him in the face. She could have emptied the whole can of mace in his face. Because she's walking around talking to me, and she's like, don't get me wrong, she was a little coffee and a little miserable. So if 10 is the max where Chief was, she was probably at a 3.
Okay.
If I were to gauge it, she was at a 3.
But am I correct in my understanding is that if you are spraying it further away,
so the last time
she would not have felt the effects if she was spraying him
she
far
didn't
away.
feel anything the last time.
Yeah.
But this time, he was literally on top of her, and he reared up like he was going to hit her.
Yeah.
And she freaking popped. So she's 2 feet, 3 feet max of him on top of her. And then she just pushed him aside and got out of there. Right. And it all happened
quick,
very quick, you know, and look, you know, we always talk about, you know, this culture that we're in where it's like, oh my gosh, but look, the bottom line is there's crazy people out there. Right. We see it on the news every day. And to me, for you, I already told Chief, I go, look, dude, I need 4 of these.
Yeah.
Right. I need some in my car. And even for me as a grown man who I fought all my life, I'm not afraid to get in a fight.
Right.
I'm now training with Chief, and I feel much stronger and much more smart in my ability to fight. Right. I'm not a weak guy.
Yeah.
I would prefer to have the mace. I mean, the pepper spray.
Sure.
I would prefer to not be in a confrontation at all.
Yeah.
Right? Thinking of my family, thinking of my kids, thinking of my wife.
Yeah.
Right? Thinking of my career. I never want to be in an altercation.
Sure.
Right? And you know, they always say that, oh man, what are you you're not man enough to fight me? No, I'm not. I'm more of a man than you because I want to go home.
Yeah.
I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there for my wife. And if pepper spray's the answer, right? And it gets me out of my whatever situation I could end up in. You know, I always hear this story, and I think about it all the time. This guy gets surrounded by motorcycles, and they ended up killing him in front of his family. And it's like, if this guy has mace, dude, spray everybody.
Yeah.
Right? And you open your window, and I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a really interesting video, and as we move forward and edit it and get it together, I'm going to show. And so what he's doing is, not only is he selling the mace and doing a in-person class, you'll be able to take it online. There's exercises. There's, you know, he's teaching you online because he says, I mean, like you know, is it bullshit? You know, do I really need it? Do I want to pay for it and go in and you know, because for me, I've always been interested in, and I'm a huge boxing fan. Always been interested in martial arts. You know, I trained a little bit in my 20s and I loved it. So it was intimidating for me, right? It was intimidating for me to go in there and start taking classes. Right? It's intimidating.
To actually go into the gym, you mean?
To actually go into the gym, the dojo, and train with other guys, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
You know, and it's scary. And it's like, you know, hey, man, I'm a fish out of water here. And it feels like the first day of high school again as a grown man.
You're a freshman in a class of seniors?
Yeah, I'm a freshman in a class of seniors, and everybody, and then not only that, everybody knows who I am, so they're like, "Hey, Steve Trevino," like, you know.
Yeah.
So it was very intimidating for me. So I can imagine for somebody like yourself, and you're not afraid of classes. You do classes, but to go, hey, you're coming into a class and you're going to fight.
Yeah.
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
You know. So hopefully the video comes out after what I saw. After what I saw with my eyes,
yes,
I will get you mace. I mean, pepper spray.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep calling it mace, and Chief corrected me because they don't use mace anymore. Because apparently if you're drunk, mace doesn't do shit.
Really?
Yeah. So mace would do nothing to me. I'm drunk right now. You're drunk.
I'm not. I'm not even halfway.
So I would highly recommend to the people out there to go out, get yourself pepper spray, because, you know, we don't want to hear somebody lost a life.
Yeah.
Right? That's horrible.
Yeah.
But if you can protect yourself and not kill somebody, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm about that. Yeah.
I was talking to I was talking about something else. We don't want to get in there. We'll talk about Philadelphia.
Yeah,
is there anything you want to talk about?
Well, no, it's been 2 weeks of you traveling, and we haven't been with you. Just that I think we miss you. That it feels like the world is getting back to normal, like your road gigs. We didn't travel with you this time because you were in places that are still kind of not fully open.
Oh, they're still doing the whole COVID thing. It's almost I don't want to say comical because that's mean, but. It's
nonsensical.
It's weird.
I think weird because we do certain things in certain places, but not in other places. Right.
Like, and also because living in Texas,
not so logical.
Living in Texas, we've been living a normal life, minus having to wear masks for a while.
Yeah.
And when I'm in Philadelphia and there's an 11:30 curfew and people are still wearing double masks and people are coming up to me saying, "This is the first time we've gone out since the shutdown." I'm like, holy crap. Like, I don't know how they handled it mentally.
Yeah.
But it was a very big deal. Philadelphia was a big deal for me. And I want to thank all the people from Philadelphia for coming out because they came out in gangs and we ended up selling out every single show. And we would have added more shows had there not been a curfew.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank Philly and I will be going back to Philly, but I really want to thank Philly because in that town, me and Dad were able to enjoy each other's company. You went just you and your dad and road manager Timmy. Yep, and then Dan and Chewy, his wife, our girlfriend, showed up. Well, I should say wife because she lives there, right?
Yeah.
They came out, and I mean, everybody's has been very concerned about my dad. And I've been very concerned. And mentally, my dad is struggling. He has headaches all the time. Yeah. He's grumpy. He's ornery.
Because I think he's dealing with the headaches, and I think he's dealing with other pain that isn't getting diagnosed and treated.
Well, he's a Vietnam vet, and has been struggling with PTSD for a very, very long time. And one of the things that was heartbreaking for me is, we all went to Vegas together and we ended up in the hospital. Remember, Dad ended up in the hospital.
On the flight home. Your dad, he collapsed in the airport.
Yeah.
On our layover, and we ended up
it was scary
stuck in Dallas.
Because my dad's been through so much. I mean, from triple bypass to surviving cancer to surviving Vietnam, and I don't want to get into those details. But it was scary. And then, I was in the hospital with him. And the nurse comes in and she says, "Hey, I'm going to have a very serious conversation with you. Do you want your son to leave?" And I'm like, oh my God. Like, what?
The nurse said that to your dad?
Yes.
Asking if he wanted you to leave?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And I was like, oh my God, what are we going to talk about? Is he going to die?
Yeah.
And my dad goes, "No, we can talk in front of him, And the nurse said, "Well, it says here that suicide is constantly on your mind." And I was like, man, I know he struggles with PTSD, and I know he struggles with what happened to him in Vietnam, and I don't want to get into it, but to hear the nurse, and my dad's such a macho, my dad is the epitome of macho tough guy.
Yeah.
To hear that, it's like, man, and he would have night terrors and you've heard him have them here at the house, and he would lose his mind in his dreams and lose it. You know. It scared you last time because that was the first time for you.
Yeah.
You hear all this banging in our guest room and there's blood because Dad cut himself and Sarah's coming out, my stepmom, going, "Oh my God, he's having a dream," and it's very scary. And I grew up with that,
Yeah.
So, but my dad loves this country, and I know how much he loves this country as much as I do. And I said, "Dad, I'm going to Philadelphia." And last time I went, I had such a great time with all the history. I said, "Dad, the Liberty Bell's there, Independence Hall's there, right?" And Dad goes, "I want to go." And I'm like, sweet. But I truly was worried Like everybody was. Everybody was like, Sarah's calling you going, oh my God. Like I hope they get through this. Because Dad and I, growing up, were very, very close.
But you guys have a very volatile relationship too.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. And then it got to the point where Dad and I would go get into it. I mean, sometimes physically, Dad and I would get into it, right? And I always wanted us to have our relationship back, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I reached out, hey man, you want to go? And he did. And man, we had a fantastic weekend together. Dad and I laughed. We had a good time. We both love casinos. We both love America.
How convenient. There's a casino across from the hotel.
Well, and what was crazy is like, he was like, I want to do this.
I didn't know Philly had casinos.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Dad was like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I want to get on that bus tour. I'm like, you got it, buddy. Right. And we did the bus tour together.
The double-decker bus?
Yeah. We did the whole thing. And Dad loved it. And I loved being with him. And it was just a really great weekend, Philly. So thank you for that, because Philly will forever be like, oh, me and Dad
had a good time.
Had a great time together. He wasn't angry. He wasn't mean. He wasn't aggressive. He was, you know, and there was never a moment of aggression. There was never a moment of I have a headache or, you know, I mean.
And it was a quick trip too. You guys flew out Friday, back in Sunday.
And that was, you know, he had come to visit us for Easter. Uh-huh. And then literally 1 minute he's gone.
Yeah, he just left. He didn't say bye. He just left.
He didn't say bye. He just left.
And we thought maybe he went to the hotel to rest, but he left.
He just left.
Yeah.
And I call my sister and Victoria goes, oh, he called me. He said that he got really mad and had a really bad headache and left. And I'm like, oh my God, like I just want my dad, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you, Philly, for just a wonderful weekend. And it was tough because, you know, I'm missing you guys a lot.
Yeah.
And normally, you know, you guys would travel with me at least every other week, right?
Yeah.
But then we go to Brea, California, and normally California, you're all about it.
For sure. We have friends there, and it's always a good time. The weather's great. I'm always excited to go back to California for a visit. But this time I was just afraid that stuff was going to be shut down. So the kids and I were just going to be stuck in a hotel room. And it's like, what's the point of going through the trouble to travel with the two kids if you're just going to be sitting in a hotel room, especially with Delilah? Then it's like, we're more comfortable if we have our comfy house and room to spread out.
Yeah. And you know, as a couple and financially and as a team.
Right. The expense of traveling with a family.
It's like, well, you know, we're trying to catch back up from being unemployed.
Yeah.
Right. We're trying to get back in the groove of things. And you know, it was one of those where it's like, well, let's not risk going and spending the money if we can't do anything.
Yeah.
And that was the case. I mean, Disneyland, you can't go to Disneyland unless you're a California resident. Well, everything was closed.
Right now, Delilah's at the age where, like, with Garrett, we were at children's museums and aquariums and zoos, and like, I want to be able to do that with her in the backpack. But if we can't go to a children's museum because they're not letting kids touch things, like, what's the point?
But I will say that it was great to be on that stage. It was great to have the family come out, which is the fans, right? And you know, so cool when I hear and we did meet and greet. You know, and I go, hey, I'm doing meet and greet.
Did you have to ask the club? The club was okay with it? Have other acts been doing meet and greets?
No, well, I was the first week.
That they're
back up.
Oh, that's right. Because that's the other thing is that like we'll put a show out and start advertising it, and then it's sold out, and then the comedy club will be like, well, guidelines have changed. We can add 20 more tickets or 40 more tickets to each show. So things are changing that way too.
Yeah, no, and it was great. And you know, afterwards I said, hey guys, if you want to do a meet and greet, you know, if you feel comfortable, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was so great to shake people's hands.
Oh, I bet you missed that. I know you missed that.
I miss it so much. And I love every comment. And, you know, I have just a moment with them, but I try to make sure that moment is with them and only them. You know, I don't like to be distracted. I try really hard to go, hey, I want you to know that I'm really happy that you came to my show. And I want them to feel that, right? And I go out of my way to make them feel that. So sometimes I always get like a little bit of a conversation, and those are the things I missed, right?
No, I know you did. Well, because you get up on stage and you do your thing, and people laugh. So there is a sense of interaction, but more for them, I think, than for you, like, because you're up on that stage by yourself. Well, so the connection is like really when you get to talk to them afterwards.
Well, what was crazy is, so next door they have a place called Copper Blues. You know, they have the Copper Blues, and I was backstage after doing meet and greet and kind of hanging out and wrapping things up. We had a lot of industry guests that we won't talk about right now, but hanging out with them, doing my thing. And then afterwards I was like, man, you know what? I love to smoke my cigar. And I go, man, I'm going to go next door, have a drink, smoke a cigar. And then I walk into Copper Blues. There's probably 20 people there. And I get a standing ovation. And everybody just starts clapping. And I was so uncomfortable, man. And it was, I felt like the movie Doc Holliday, not Doc Holliday, Tombstone, when the performers walk into the bar and everybody stops and they like clap for them. And I was like, hey, thank you, But it was just, I mean, don't get me wrong. Was I uncomfortable? Yes. But did it make me feel great? Absolutely. And it just... and they were like, hey, will you take a picture with us? I'm like, absolutely, of course. You know, which, by the way, I always tell people, if you ever see me in public, I'm much more comfortable if you come and say hello. Yeah. Like the snickering and the staring.
Oh, it's not snickering. Snickering is mean, but you mean like the peeping?
Yeah, like people just kind of staring at me or
if you catch us having an argument, just come up and interrupt. Say hello.
Help us. But it was like in Fort, and you were walking behind me in Fort Worth. I'm walking and you hear, that's Steve Trevino. That's Steve Trevino. Dude, ask him for a picture. And I'm like, just ask me. Yeah. Like, I'm happy to stop and shake your hand. I'm happy to take that photo with you because I want to thank you, right? And I appreciate you. But where I really get uncomfortable is when I know you're looking at me. I can feel it. Yeah. And I know you know who I am, and I know you want to come say hi. Just come say hi. Yeah. And my favorite, if we're being honest.
Well, I think people don't know. Like, sometimes people want to be respectful. Like, we're doing something with our children, or what I mean?
But being respectful doesn't mean you just stare at us. Like, you go, oh crap, that's Steve Trevino and Captain Evil and their kids. I'm gonna keep walking. That was cool. That's normal. Yeah. Right. I had somebody take a picture of my back. And they were like, that's Steve Trevino. And I'm like, dude, I would have taken a picture with you. Like, why do you take a picture of me to the side? I mean, I look good. But, and I mean, the best thing you can do to two things. If you come up to me and shake my hand and go, man, I think you're great. Yeah. And you're really funny and I'm a big fan. Thank you. And I would say, thank you back. And we shake hands and you leave. Yeah. That's a good move. Yeah. That's a great move. Right? Another great move is that's Steve Trevino. I'm a fan. I want to take a picture with him. Pull your cell phone out.
Have it ready.
Get your cell phone ready to go.
Selfie mode.
Selfie mode. Walk up and go, dude, I'm a big fan. You mind if I snap a pic real quick? Boom. Man, thank you so much. And leave. Those are the two moves.
Not in the restroom.
Well, I've had that. Hey man, can I shake your hand? I'm like, well, let me shake my dick first, and then I'll shake your hand. But yes, that is the move. Yeah. Right. Those are the two moves that if you can knock those out with I would assume any celebrity. Yeah. I was with a comedian. I'm not going to name his name, and we were at the Melrose Improv. Which you go to the Melrose Improv in L.A. If you love comedy, you go to the Melrose Improv in L.A. and you have a drink at the front bar, and you will see and probably meet 10 comedians. Yeah. Famous ones, big ones. Same with the Comedy Store. Yeah. You go have a drink in the front patio of the Comedy Store, and you walk around to the back, you're probably going to see 10 to 15 great stand-up comedians. Yeah. And I'm not just saying guys at my level. I'm talking about Chris Rock. I mean, Chappelle. Yeah. Bill Burr. I mean, big names. Yeah. You go, you hang out, and you'll see everybody kind of walking around and hanging out. But I was hanging out with a very, very big name comedian, and this guy came over, and he goes, "Can I get a picture?" Yeah. And this comic goes, "How about you have a drink?" have a drink. And then the guy goes, man, you know what? You're a dick. And walked off. And this comedian was like, I asked you to have a drink with me. I don't want to take a picture with you, but if you want to stand here and have a drink with us and join our conversation, you can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that a dick move?
You just offered so much more. You could have like participated in a full-on conversation.
Right, you could have hung out. We were all hanging out.
Yeah.
And this comedian goes, bro, just grab a drink. Like, you're here.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I just want a picture. And he's like, well, I don't want to take a picture, but I'll hang out.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like, you're a dick, man. And then left. And that comedian looks at me and goes, really?
Who says stay and hang out?
Which is what I do. Right? I'm always like, well, man, I'm here. Like, you're going to hang out. Hang out, But it's like when I always invite, and not this year, I don't have a date, but every year that I'm performing in Vegas, I literally get on stage and go, hey, join us in Vegas. Here's the dates. Me and my wife would love to hang out with you.
Yeah.
And we mean it. And sometimes people are like, well, I know you said, and I'm like, bro, I don't say things I don't mean.
Yeah.
And if I don't want you around, I have no problem politely saying, hey, me and my wife are doing something by ourselves today.
Yeah.
Right? But if I say, come hang out.
Yeah.
Come hang out. Speaking of, a couple of things, we have to wrap it up. 3 great episodes today. 3 fantastic episodes.
Oh.
They only get to see one.
We didn't even tell them we filmed a commercial for Aztec Chevrolet, and it turned out so cute. It turned out so cute.
Because you're in it.
Wow.
We did good. We filmed a commercial for our friends at Aztec Chevrolet.
And Steve was so good in it.
No, you were so good. Well, I was laughing because we ended up having to shoot it in our home. So you are going to see the inside of our home. However, for safety purposes, we did not show the front of our home.
Yeah.
We used what's called B-roll, right? We just show a house.
It's basically the White House.
And I know. I was like, dang, dude. Thanks, Rick. Our outside of our house looks badass, dude. But we filmed it, and we want you to see it. So after this episode, hang around if you want to for a 30-second Steve and Captain Evil commercial. I'm very proud of it. I think
so quick. Good. It turned out really great. And we have tons of, because you're so funny. Steve does like silly things on camera that don't fit for the commercial and wouldn't work. But we have a lot of B-roll. I think we're gonna have to share it on our social media or something.
The outtakes or something.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then oldsaltcoffee.com.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys, for the continued support. Several people have sent photographs saying, hey, here's my Old Salt Coffee came in. So thank you so much. Oldsaltcoffee.com. Trevino 10 gets you 10%.
Yes.
Get an annual subscription. You're going to drink coffee anyway. You're already buying coffee. You might as well buy coffee from a veteran-owned company and from people who support my wife and I. So please, please, please. And then last but not least,
one more thing. We are still fundraising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And
yes,
you can
that is last
go
but not least
to the link in our bios if you want to donate. We're still doing that for a couple more weeks. But because of that, people are sharing their stories and reaching out and letting us know how cancer has affected them. So someone sent us, in honor of Brielle Avery Barber, they sent us some shirts. It's Brielle's Butterflies on Facebook. But there's this thing on Facebook called the Kindness Card Project that they're a part of. So they sent us some. She's a sweet, sweet little girl that passed away due to childhood cancer. But they sent us some of her shirts. So we're going to put those in the mail for some people and pass on that kindness. And then we're going to try and we appreciate you guys helping us with our fundraising efforts, but we wanted to do something a little more interactive, and we're trying to find more ways to get you guys involved. So we are going to try and set up comedy bingo. Steve and I are going to host a bingo fundraiser that will be all on Zoom, and you can buy a ticket for it. So we'll keep you posted with how that works.
Well, and we are, Rick and I and Captain Evil here, we've been talking about how can we get the people watching more involved? We're trying to set up a way that you guys can be a virtual studio audience. So please look out for that. And then, I have been humbled and also, when you get involved with a charity, all the things that I've learned with Helicopters for Heroes, working with veterans, helping veterans, which, by the way, you can win a 1937 Ford restored pickup truck on helicoptersforheroes.com, $20 raffle tickets. So get them. But, you know, with this LLS, just the stories and people reaching out and saying, hey, this really is a good charity. And they specifically helped me, a family member, other people. So please, please, please join us in raising money for that. And a big shout out because I have somebody being affected right now. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, Russo Nobi, we call him Kawami. He is battling cancer right now, and I'm very proud of him. He's fighting like hell and got out of the hospital and home. He's not cancer free yet, but Russo from the Trevinos, keep fighting, man. We love you. We know what kind of heart you have, and we wish you the very, very best and a speedy recovery, my friend. Steve Trevino and Captain Evil here. Enjoy this commercial. Hey, I was thinking...
No.
What about this?
No.
It's a no.
Hey, Captain Evil, I was thinking...
No.
Okay.
Hey, Captain Evil, what do you think about this?
Yes.
Head over to Aztec Chevrolet, where even Captain Evil says yes.